When I originally saw the leaks for The Last of Us Part 2, I hated it. I hated it. When I say hate, I don't like mean just thoroughly dislike. I mean I really hated it from the bottom of my heart. I hated the direction that they took. I hated everything about everything that I saw, and I did not want to play this game at all. And I have to say that after some new leaks have surfaced, and don't get me wrong, this isn't some kind of fan theory stuff. This is actual video leaks that have shown pretty much the entire game, but have given the original leaks a lot more context. And now that I have all of the context and see exactly what Naughty Dog was going for, maybe not exactly, but mostly what they were going for, I have to say I was wrong. I was wrong. I really was wrong. I don't hate this game anymore. I don't like it, but I don't hate it either. And let me explain why. Let me start off by saying I'm a huge fan of the original Last of Us. I think it was one of the best video games ever made, obviously, and I've never connected with any characters as much as I've connected with those characters. I think Joel is one of the best written characters of any video game ever, and he's up there with movies as well, but obviously I haven't seen all movies. But I think that Joel was an amazing character. And when I found out, oh yeah, by the way, spoiler warning, please don't watch this video. Please don't watch this video if you actually care about spoilers for The Last of Us. Part 1 or Part 2, I will be discussing the entire story in great detail. So please do not watch this video if you do not want to hear spoilers. So, Joel got murdered, and that's not really what bothered me, because I always expected Joel to die in the second game. As a matter of fact, there was always theories that Joel would die. And when we got the reveal trailer, there were theories that he was already dead. So we didn't really necessarily have a problem with Joel dying. It was just how he died and who he died to. Now, Joel ends up being killed by Abby, who is a very muscular woman, not confirmed to be trans, but clearly implying that she's transsexual. Now, the thing that the original leaks implied, and this was the hugest problem for me personally, was that this trans character not only killed Joel, but will be played for the rest of the game all the way to the end, and that she would potentially be the main protagonist in future titles, as this game was basically killing off Joel and making Ellie the villain while also promoting this new main character for their franchise. Needless to say, I would have absolutely not been okay with this, no matter what this person was. It could have been a biological man, a biological woman, a dog. It doesn't matter. When you kill off a main character so that you can create a new character to push some kind of agenda, that is just completely unacceptable. And that was the largest issue that I personally had with the leaks, and I'm sure a lot of other people had with the leaks, thinking that Abby was going to be the main character and the game was going to center around her. Now, you do play as Abby for half of the game, but the game ends with Ellie. The game ends with Ellie's perspective, and that is a huge difference. Not only that, but it's implied that Abby will never be seen or heard from ever again by the end of the game, which is also a huge difference, okay? Huge difference. That changes everything, because I thought that they were trying to make this trans person, or this potential trans person, become the new main character. That was my hugest issue, and that is not the case. So that's already infinitely better than what I thought it was going to be, right? So that's one thing down. Now, let's go into Abby. Why would I want to play 10 hours as the killer of one of my fan favorite characters? And not only that, but are they trying to make this character out to be the good guy while Joel is being out to be the bad guy? Well, as I've seen the rest of the game, absolutely not. The original leaks implied that, but absolutely not. Joel is actually not made out to be a bad guy in this game. His decisions are explained, they're put up front, and you have to, as the player, decide if he was right or wrong. And the same thing with Abby. Her decisions, her actions are put and presented to you, and you as the player have to decide. It's like the same thing as the movie Joker. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that movie. Most people would say Joker's the villain, but the movie never outrightly says that. The movie just puts the Joker out there and presents him, and you have to decide if he's the villain or not. And I feel like that's exactly what Naughty Dog did with Abby, with Joel, and with Ellie. And that's good writing. No matter what I say, no matter how I feel about it, that's good writing. Now, another huge top issue that a lot of people had with the leaks was that Joel was killed disrespectfully, meaning Naughty Dog had the intent of killing Joel in a disrespectful way to say, we don't like this character, fuck you. And there were some implications that Neil Druckmann actually did some mocap work and voice acted for a character that actually had a part to do with killing Joel in a disrespectful way, which has never been confirmed, and we just kind of jumped the ship on that one. But anyways, the game goes through and shows that no, they don't feel that way about Joel at all. Joel has been handled completely correctly, in my opinion. The way that they dealt with his decision, his choice to kill the Fireflies in order to save Ellie in this game, it comes back to bite him, because one of the Fireflies that he killed, the doctor, happened to be Abby's father. No one's saying that Joel was wrong to kill those doctors. No one's saying that his choice to save Ellie was the wrong one. They're not saying that. They're just saying that his choice had consequences, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. If you wanted Joel to die, wouldn't you want him to die by the hands of someone that he had wronged? Which he did. He wronged Abby by taking her father's life. In Abby's perspective, there's no way around it. So you cannot blame Abby for wanting to kill Joel. And if you can, it makes you a hypocrite if you don't blame Ellie for wanting to kill Abby in return. There's no way around. Those are our facts that you cannot deny. Ellie cannot have righteousness to kill Abby if Abby did not have righteousness to kill Joel, because they both are out to avenge their father figure, someone who killed them. No way around that. And that, once again, is excellent writing. Can't deny it. So so now we get to this point where, okay, the largest issues that I had with the leak were actually not true. I've actually been misled to believe these things to be true, and they are not. They are factually not true. So what else were the leaks wrong about? What else did I take from the leaks and fill in the blanks myself without actually getting the context? Honestly, there's a lot. For example, we thought that Abby was just a ruthless killing machine, but that's not true. She spares Ellie multiple times. Even after Ellie has killed some of her closest friends, she spares Ellie multiple times. She spares Ellie, she spares Dina. We thought that Abby was just this piece of shit, but she's not. She just wanted to avenge her father by any means necessary, the same exact way that Ellie wants to avenge her father the same exact way. You can't get mad, like I said, you can't get mad at Abby if you're not mad at Ellie. And then Abby being trans really was the biggest issue for me, or muscular, or whatever you want to call it. I after these leaks came out again, these final leaks, I thought to myself, if Abby was a regular woman or even a man, would I really have a problem with any of this? I really would not. I actually would think this is fine. To be honest, I would think this is okay. This is a solid sequel. I'm not even lying. I don't have a problem with this. And the conclusion that they come to with Abby's character is that Abby doesn't want to kill Ellie anymore, but Ellie is so wrapped up in the agonizing, brutal murder of Joel that she cannot let it go until she's given up everything. And that is so powerful, because we feel the same exact way that Ellie feels, because the picture of Joel being beaten by a golf club just explodes in your mind and Ellie's mind visibly throughout the game. to make you want to get revenge for him. And you want to get revenge, but at the same time, you see that Abby only did it to avenge her father. That's the only reason. She's not an evil person. She's just avenging her father, and it happens to be that she's avenging her father for a guy that we like, So I'm sorry, once again, that's good writing. I show me how that's bad writing. I just want to see it. And then, okay, so now another huge argument is that, well, this is just a revenge plot. It's been done a million times. I never subscribed to that because the original story was just a travel buddy plot, Like Joker, like I just mentioned, one of my favorite films, it's just a character study of a psychotic man. It doesn't matter what the skeleton of the story is. What matters is the execution. And I'm sorry, I've never said anything bad about the graphics, the presentation, the voice acting, the mocap, animation, cinematography. All of it is the best. No, not good. The best of any video game ever released. I don't care. Tell me a video game that's better. Please, I'll wait. Any video game. There's no video game better than you can see from the trailers. There's no video game that looks better than this one. There is not one. Sorry. So if that is the execution of the story, the execution is the best of any story, any video game story ever made. So the execution is there. Now, there's also execution in the writing, of course. There's execution in the dialogue, but for the most part of what I've seen, it's fine. It's not as good as The Last of Us Part 1. The Last of Us Part 1 is a masterpiece in storytelling. This game won't be a masterpiece in storytelling, absolutely not, but it's definitely not a piece of shit garbage trash like I thought it was. No, it's not. I'm sorry, guys. It's not. It's simply not. And another thing is that, well, there are a lot of revenge plots going on in this world, and Ellie's plot in the first game was very special because she had the cordyceps cure and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, fair enough. She had the cordyceps cure, and the game led towards, finding the cure. So that was the driving motive. But in the end, they didn't find the cure, did they? So the cure didn't really matter. The cure was just the driving point to get these two characters to bond, really. That's all the cure was. The cure is not found in this game either, but it is explained. Joel and Ellie's relationship is a part of this game, which is another thing that we thought, well, Joel's dead, they can't have a relationship. No, there are tons of flashbacks and meaningful situations in their lives. They actually do talk about the decision that Joel made. Joel does finally come out and say that he did actually do what he did. He finally tells Ellie the truth, and they finally get closure on that situation. And the way they handled the closure is perfect. There's no other way they could have written it. I don't care what you tell me. There's no other way. The way that they handled the closure between Joel and Ellie is flawless. Let me explain. They could have gone any route. They could have said, Joel apologizes for what he done. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done it. You were right. I should have I live with this guilt every day. I was so wrong. And they could have condemned Joel like we thought they would. We could have condemned him and said, Joel, you're the bad guy. Your decision was bad. No, it was not. Joel says, I know it was wrong, but I don't give a fuck. I do it again and again and again because I love you, Ellie. And Ellie looks towards Joel and says, man, I really wanted to try to save the world, and now my life has no meaning. Do you understand that you took that from me? But at the same time, I can't hate you forever because you're my father, basically. Like, you've been there for me the whole time, so I have to find a way to forgive you no matter what. That is perfect. And the fact that she is struggling throughout the entire game to learn how to forgive, and then she finally learns how to forgive Abby for killing Joel at the end. That is perfect. It's perfect. Guys, I'm sorry, guys. I hated this. I hated it. But I can't say that it's bad anymore. Now that I know the full context, I can't. It's no way I can say it was bad. And people are saying now, well, other people are still gonna hate the game. I really don't think so. Now that I've seen all of this, I really don't think people are going to hate this. There are going to be some people who don't like it. Yeah, sure, there's always people who don't like it, but I don't think this is going to be a hated game, guys. I really don't. I think this game is going to go down in a positive light because of all the things that I have said. There's really nothing wrong with this story at all. There's nothing wrong with it. It might not have been the story that I wanted or you wanted, but as far as writing stories go, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Another large complaint I've seen is, well, this story needed to have more, time. There's no way they could tell this kind of story in 20 hours. It needed to have a full Netflix series. Sorry, buddy, but there are way more complicated stories than this in video games, and they are able to do it. So, have you ever heard of a game called Chrono Trigger, my guy? That story is ridiculously confusing, but still, it makes perfect sense. There's no plot holes or anything like that, but it's definitely done within the span of a video game. So to say that this story is too long for a video game, kind of insulting. It's not that deep, okay? It's not that huge of a story. And then another thing that people were concerned about was the pandering to lesbians and all that. Well, I will say that there is some pandering to lesbians and gay people in this, but it's not too unbearable. For example, in the beginning of the game, Ellie has an argument with the guy because Dina kissed her and the guy called her some kind of lesbian or some kind of, probably like dyke or some shit like that. I don't know, some bad word that you would call a lesbian. And they get into a fight, obviously. And then the next day, Tommy's wife insists that this man apologize to Ellie and Ellie accept the apology. Ellie doesn't necessarily accept the apology, but the game goes out of the way to show that the guy's really sorry. He didn't mean it. And he's not a bad guy. You wouldn't expect that. If they wanted to push this narrative that all people who fucking hate gay people are just asshole pieces of shit. Anybody who says anything bad about a gay person is always a piece of shit. And that's not true. Not only that, but Joel is openly accepting of her gayness. He loves it. He's like, he completely supports Ellie to the point where he'll defend her if anyone says anything bad about her being a lesbian. Which once again shows that if Naughty Dog hated Joel, why would they write him that way? They didn't hate him. They weren't trying to make us hate him. They weren't trying to make anybody hate him. They weren't trying to replace him with Abby. They weren't doing any of that stuff, guys. It's facts. Oh man, it's facts, dude. I've never felt like such an asshole before. I have to apologize to Naughty Dog. I have to. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. I'm still not buying it, but I don't hate this game. I really don't. I actually kind of like it. I think that this is fine. This is an acceptable predecessor to The Last of Us Part 1, and I really have no problem with it at all. I'm going to definitely watch someone do a full walkthrough, a full playthrough, so I can get the entire story, but for the most part, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. And another huge complaint people have with this game is that it's just misery porn, or I don't know. So let's break that down. It's two kind of ways to have misery porn. It's either emotional, mental misery, or physical misery. Now, The Last of Us Part 1 was extremely physically brutal. No way to deny that. To say this game is more brutal is kind of like, well, what do you want in a sequel? In a sequel of a game, you want it to be more of what you got the first time, right? And it isn't that much more brutal than The Last of Us Part 1, because The Last of Us Part 1 was one of the most brutal video games ever made, up there with Gears of War. It was ridiculously brutal. I'm not sure if you guys remember all of the stuff that Joel did. Like, he was pretty fucking brutal, and yeah, that shit was fucked up. And then as far as emotional brutality goes, there was tons of that too. We watched a gay man and his gay lover, and a gay man lose his mind and his gay lover commit suicide. We watched Sarah die, which was completely emotionally brutal. Way more emotionally brutal than anything in this game, other than probably Joel dying. But I think even the fact that Sarah was a child and had done nothing wrong to anyone was significantly more brutal than Joel dying. And another thing that we saw in the first game that was extremely brutal was the death of Sam and his brother, who committed suicide on camera after having to kill his own brother. That was extremely brutal. After we had connected with these characters and they had such a positive light, to see them like that, completely emotionally and physically brutal. And Tess dying, come on, like, extremely brutal. Like, so the first game was brutal. There's no way you could deny that, can you? Can you say the first game wasn't brutal? Oh, but there was the scene with the giraffes. Okay, this game has scenes where they have flashbacks of Joel and Ellie just hanging out, and Joel spending time with Ellie on her birthday. There's not just complete darkness throughout the game, but there's no hope that there will be a cure. I guess that would probably be a little bit darker, but it's not so much darker to the point where it's just like, man, this is just unplayable. If you like The Last of Us Part 1, you should like this game. In terms of the brutality level, there's really little to no difference. I really don't get that argument. And then the other argument is that the gameplay. Well, the gameplay looks like it's the same. Excuse me? Are we really saying that the gameplay that is inarguably more refined, as you can see throughout the trailers and the gameplay, we know it looks a little bit better. So the gameplay is more of the same, but a little better. And you have a problem with that. I can't complain about that, guys. That's not a valid complaint. Uncharted 4, let's see. The gameplay, the exact same, but a little better. No one had a problem. I'm sorry, guys. We can't pick and choose. We can't just be like, oh, I don't like everything about this game because of one story decision that I didn't get enough context for. That's not fair, guys. We were wrong. We have to admit it. We were wrong, guys. We were wrong. Okay, let me get back on topic. Okay, so the last thing I want to go over is the kind of hate that has come up about this game is kind of ridiculous. Like, people don't even want to hear you say an opinion about the game that isn't just complete hate. They don't even want to hear it. And that's really bad, guys, because now you guys are becoming what you thought this game was. You guys are becoming the people that we thought we were fighting against. The people who don't want to hear other people's opinions. The people who think that they're always right, no matter what. The people who are raised by emotions and not logic and not fact, only emotion. That's what you guys are becoming. You can't be that person. You have to look at this game for what it is and make your decision once you have all of the pieces. That's something that we did not do because we assumed that the pieces wouldn't make up for the mess. And if you look at the game and see all of the pieces and still think that is bad, I mean, that's your opinion. But I personally don't see it as a bad story or a bad game anymore. I really don't. I honestly don't. I see it as not as good as it could have been, definitely. Definitely not, but not an insult to the fans, not disrespectful like I thought it would be, not just a straight up like, fuck you, you like The Last of Us Part 1, fuck you. No, that's not what this game is, guys. And we were wrong to assume that. We really were. We were absolutely wrong to assume that. We were. It's no way to deny that this game is not that. They absolutely treat Joel with respect, even though he's killed disrespectfully. They treat him with respect throughout the entire game. And Ellie as well, and her decisions as well. And I just want to leave you guys with that. I don't know if I'll ever play this game in life. Probably not, but I definitely will watch a gameplay. And I hope you guys don't get too mad at me. I hope you guys go ahead and type your feelings in the comments if you've seen the spoilers. And if you haven't, well, I mean, I just spoiled the whole game for you. But in the meantime, you guys have a great day, and thanks for watching. Peace.